Good evening, everyone. My name is Adrian Dunn, advisor for racial equity and minority student success here at CCPA. We are here right now for our Black Artist Conversations. And today I am elated to have with us Mr. Rex Hardy. I'm going to have him introduce himself. And for you who may not know exactly who this man is, I'm going to allow him to introduce himself and tell you a little bit more about his career and his work. So go ahead and take it away.
First of all, Adrian, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to be here. So we've done some work together. So I appreciate you, extending this opportunity to me. But for those who don't know me, my name is Rex L. Hardy Jr. That's my full name, but most people call me Rex Hardy Jr. I'm a musician, producer, arranger, from Chicago, born and raised. I'm 39 years old now. I've been the music director. Mostly what people know me is from being a music director and drummer for Mary J. Blige. I've been with her 17 years now. And so I've pretty much seen the entire world with her. I played with Puff, Diddy, whatever you want to call him, Shaka Khan. I did American Idol. I was in a house band for 3 seasons. So I've been in the game for a while, but it's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Chicago, and I still live here. So, it's an honor to see, even what you're doing here in the city. By me being from here, I can really appreciate it. So, I'm just happy to be here, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here today. Can you tell our faculty and students a little bit about who are your musical heroes and sheroes? Who are the people who really shaped your musical identity? I know you are an amazing drummer, and I've followed your career for years, but I also know that, behind every great musician are great people who were mentors and, people who were musical influences. And so can you tell us a little bit more about who are your major influences musically and artistically?
Musically, it started off for me and my family. Like it started off with my father was in a group. He had a somewhat quartet type group that was called the Hardy Brothers when I was little. So I always used to watch, at the time, my Uncle Donnell, he was playing drums. So I would just be the little kid that always went with my father to see them. And that's kind of where it shaped me mentally to want to do music full time. Even though it was something they were just doing, it made me feel like, oh, wow, okay, there's maybe something I want to do. And as I got older, I met a lot of my big brothers in the industry now, but I grew up with this drummer named Calvin Rogers. I've known Calvin, man, since I was maybe five or six.
Wow.
And he's a few years older than me. So by coming up under him, I kind of saw how he was moving, and he was doing everything before I was. So he was kind of one of the people that I was actually next to. And I saw that this could be done, like as a job. It wasn't even a hobby at that point. So right. I followed him. Another guy, Teddy Campbell, who's married to Tina Campbell from Mary Mary. He's from Chicago. And he's played for anybody you could name, he's played for him. He was the drummer that did American Idol every other season. So he was one of the guys, and it's a lot. Nissan Stewart is another drummer, produced for Timbaland, Aaliyah, Missy. But far as in the industry, outside of like my really close friends, I looked up to people like Diddy. Like just as a black man with what he's done, it's like second to none. Like he changed the game, and to have an opportunity to work with him starting in 2009, I think, or 10. That was a really humbling experience, to say the least, because I looked at Puff like he was untouchable. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then of course, leading up to him, I was with Mary. So I was always a fan of hers, like always. So just to see how those two in particular, how they maneuvered, through the industry coming from where they came from. It was like, yeah, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of my mentors musically.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about, your experience as it relates to not just your work ethic, but the things that are required, right, in 2021 to be a successful artist and or musician. And you sit in a unique place to, I think, be able to give us your unique perspective as both, artist talent on stage, as drummer, as a music director, working both on the entertainment side as well as, I think you can offer us a really unique perspective about what are those demands, what are those things that that younger artists should be thinking about, and things and tools that they need to be successful and work in 2021.
I think it's some stuff that I'm learning as well, because I'm much older than the younger generation, but my work ethic has never changed. So coming into the industry, it was more so, not everyone, but a lot of people are talented. They were just born with it. Now, some of them expect it, some of them don't. They just like, okay, yeah, I could do this. Me, I knew I was blessed to be a musician, whether it was a drummer or whatever, but it was me like kind of locking in and saying, okay, well, if there's 100 drummers, I want something to stand out about me. So, for instance, just to speed up to now, like for instance, with what I did with you and the orchestra situation, you would send me a message and it's like, it's something you wanted to hear almost immediately. So my work ethic automatically goes into a state of, okay, this is what he wants. Let me figure it out and let me see how I can get it back to him as fast as I can, so I'm not something he's worried about. So I think that's something I would say as the younger generation, be more aware and then be more accountable for what you're trying to put out there. You know what I mean? Somebody shouldn't really have to call you twice or 3 times. Like every time you hit me, I try to give you what you wanted right back. You know what I mean? It's a sense of, because at that, like I told somebody before, at this particular moment in the world, the playing field is flat.
Absolutely.
Now you guys that are more popular than others, whether
it's 45,
whether it's artists, singers, like I said, actress, whatever you are, we're all on level 1. So now we all have access to the same thing. We may not have access to all those same people, but now what are you going to do for people to be like, oh man, I'd rather use him or her than use them? You know what I mean? If you're aware of what's going on around you and you're like in a position to know where I'm going to put out quality, whether it's music, content, whatever you're doing, just you basically do your best at it, because nobody's going to outdo you right now in your mind, because we're all here. And I want everybody to understand it. We're all home.
Yeah.
So that's the advice I would give a younger musician, producer, whatever it is that you do.
Absolutely. And I think it's important that, we hear from, people who have that credit, who've been there, right? Who've been on world tours and national tours, but also have played at churches and also have, produced local artists as well, because I feel like there's so much insight that oftentimes is lost out or left out, when we have the conversations about the fun stuff, but we don't have the conversation about the hard work all the time that it takes to, even get in the room, right? Or be mentioned in a conversation or be considered, right? To be in these roles and these positions. And so thank you for sharing that. in closing, what is some of the advice that you would give your younger self? So, what is some of the advice that you would give when you were the age of some of our students? So, 18, 19, 20-year-old Rex, what would you say to yourself artistically, musically, as a Black man in America who is a working artist and musician? What are those things you would tell your younger self that you know now?
Man, I would have a I would have a full-on conversation with myself for a while. I mean, it's so many things. I mean, first of all, as a Black man, I would tell myself, my younger self at the time, first of all, take life more serious, because a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with now has always been there, but we didn't have camera phones then. You know what I mean? So it was almost like one of them things where I would just tell myself, like, look, even though I'm here, still alive, thankfully, but there are a lot of people who aren't. So I would just be like, man, I would have carried myself slightly different, you know, just to kind of steer myself away from the negativity that I did get into, you know, when I was musically. I know for sure I would have, as a younger person, I was always stuck on certain genres of music. Now I love them all, but far as playing, I was only stuck on certain ones. So I loved gospel, of course. I grew up in it. I loved hip hop. I loved R&B. Jazz, I listened to it, but I never really got into playing. But what happened was, once I moved later on in life, now I'm getting these other calls. I'm getting calls to play country, you know, like just all. So my younger self, if I could have told myself anything at that time, would have been like, learn everything. Don't just listen to it, learn it. You know, even though I didn't, there's some jazz drummers, they don't want to be hip hop drummers, but it's cool to at least have it in you. So if you're ever, you know, presented a situation, once I was presented American Idol, I knew how to read the charts. I knew everything I needed to know musically, but that wasn't what I needed on other gigs.
Yes.
So for me, it was good that I was in that position, but I would really tell myself, like, lock in on every style of music, because even with what you sent me, that was a straight like orchestral type thing.
Yeah.
From the knowledge I had, I made it work, but that's only from me sitting there, you know, coming up and just seeing how certain people, like the mechanics, like it's an assembly line, you know. So from being younger to now, I just saw how people moved in certain situations. So when you call, it was like, okay, well, I know that's an orchestra sound. That's something I would have played if I was in that, you know, situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that really helped me to, you know, get the quality of work that I try to send out, you know, every time I'm called.
Absolutely. And I think you pointed on something really important, which is, you know, not just the globalization of the global market and how everybody's similarly on the same playing field, but you never know as a young musician what that next call will be. And so when you don't know what the next call will be, you don't always have to get ready, if you are doing the study on your own, as you just said, to embrace genres or styles or listen to things that are outside of your comfort zone. And I feel like now more than ever, it's easier. I mean, even Apple Music and Spotify pre-curate playlists of, you know, whole genres of stuff, and they put it together for you, and all you got to do is listen and study, right? And so I definitely appreciate that you know, even though you had the things that you love to do, you still knew that there was more out there, right? There were more sounds and influences and things like that you needed to kind of embrace for the work that was ahead of you. Even if you didn't know that was the work you was going to get, like that's still preparing you for the future, and for the work that's not there in front of you just yet.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It definitely helps you in the future. No, and the main thing you said is you don't know what your next call is.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Like, I was made to play with Mary J. Blige, and I don't mean it as in, I do mean it as in her, because that type of music I listened to every day when I was a kid, not just her, that style. So I could sleep, you know what I mean? But it was the other. We weren't playing her music on Idol like that.
Yes.
We were playing Tim McGraw, Dolly Parton, like we were playing those type of records. So if I hadn't have at least put my ear on it and
Yeah.
kind of, you know, because you can kind of lose the like the meat of the music you're getting called to play. You know,
Yes.
you can't approach it like everything. So that's
Right.
once you get that call, be ready, because some calls you won't get again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how can our students connect with you? I know some of them may have questions. If they have follow-up questions, I know y'all can email me the questions. I'll be sure to get them over to Rex. But what ways can folks connect with you on social media? And also, can you tell us a little bit more about what stuff you've got coming up and ways that we can find out more about what you are doing in the world as the amazing drummer and producer that you are?
I appreciate that for sure. Well, you can email me. My email will be rexdrums@gmail. So it's REXdrums with a Z, not a S, at Gmail. So you can hit me there anytime. It doesn't matter. I'm on Instagram, and that's at Rex Hardy Jr. So REXHARDYJR. And you can, so I answer my DMs and everything. So, then also my website is rexhardyjr.com. So you can also check that out. And it's a lot of what I have going on, like merchandise that I sell, tracks that I sell, just a lot of different, you know, my resume's on there, of course, so you can see a lot of what I've done, like right in front of you. I do have clothing out on Amazon too. So
Awesome.
you can actually go to Amazon and type in Rex Hardy Jr. in the search window. The stuff that I'm a part of will come up. So I'm in the process of doing some production as far as getting some schools involved. So of course I'll be talking to you. I'll put you on the spot about that. So it's just a lot, man. I'm really trying to just reach back and help, you know, the ones who were just getting into this game and the ones who are trying to get into this game. Because at this point, where we are, it's like once we come out of this, they have to go out with as much knowledge as they know, because people are not playing. Like if you come out and you're not ready, whether it be, you know, you're doing TV shows, Broadways, touring, just production, studio, whatever. If you're not on your A game, it's going to be a lot of eyes looking at you, because we've all had time. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, but that's,
you're right.
You know, that's pretty much how you can get in touch with me and keep up with me, and, you know, send me whatever you want me to answer or no. It don't matter.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a wealth of knowledge and space. I know at the Music and Theater Conservatory, we're primarily oftentimes given attention for the classical programs and also for the theater program, but we do have such a population of students who are both classical, who love hip hop, love production, doing production on their own. And then we also have students who are commercial majors as well as jazz majors who love hip hop and other genres, R&B, who are also trying to make their way into the production space as well. So I know I wanted to offer this conversation for the whole school, because I feel like there's so oftentimes in college, you don't know, as you said earlier, where you're going to end up. You don't know exactly what idea or what production or what thing is going to be the next call or the next check or the thing that provides the space or avenue for you to go to your destiny. And so thank you so much for your time. Again, these have been the Black Artist Conversations with the Rex Hardy Jr. Thank you all so much. And we look forward to you all tuning in again for Black Artist Conversations at CCPA. Thank you all.